I
I, Dr. Emmanuel Lloyd Baffo,
swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue
touching the matter in issue
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Please introduce yourself to the committee.
Munir Al-Hassan, Director of Administration.
Dr. Emmanuel Lloyd Baffo, Head of Biomedical Engineering Unit.
Cynthia Fremejachi, Acting Director, General Service.
Please, you can continue.
Yeah, thank you. So as I indicated, we have one MRI machine that was installed in 2012. So it's over 13 years, and it's working at fault. Working at fault means today is working, tomorrow is down. And that's why I'm sure at the time of the audit, it wasn't working. This is something we've been grappling with. We have 3 CT scan machines. Only one is working currently. We're trying to bring up the second one. And currently we have engineers working on that. Something like cardiac catheterization lab, cath lab, for 70 years that Confanochi has been in existence, we've never had one. And those are, if I get heart attack right now, before I'm referred to UGMC that has a cath lab or the bank hospital, I'll be dead in transit. And I'm using myself as an example. I don't want to die anyway. So these are the real challenges.
How much does this equipment you are talking about cost?
So the cath lab, from our last estimate, and we're working with the ministry to provide it, it ranges between $1.5 million to $2 million US dollars. And this is way above, yes, so definitely it may have to. And most of these equipment, CT scan, MRI, as my honorable minister indicated, are capital intensive to acquire them, and they are above the budget of all the hospitals gathered here. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to contribute to the cath lab. Recently, we had an issue with one of our medical doctors who passed away from a cardiac problem and needed a cardiac catheterization. A cardiac catheterization is a procedure that happens when somebody's having a heart attack. Basically, the vessels around the heart is blocked. So there's a procedure where you can put a stent through and open up the vessel. And that is what we do in a cath lab. After the death of that physician, who is one of our colleagues, it became a national issue, and the issue was brought up to the presidency and also up to the ministry through to the presidency. So currently we're working on getting at least 2 or maybe maximum 4 cath labs in the country. The equipment for cath labs are not equipment that you just go off the market and buy. Some of them have to be configured for specific projects or specific spaces or specific patients. So we have already contracted companies that are manufacturing these equipment. So hopefully soon, I don't want to put a specific timeline, at least we'll have one properly functioning cardiac catheterization lab in this country, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll have 4 functioning cardiac catheterization labs so we can avoid these preventable deaths when it comes to heart attack and strokes and other medical conditions. Thank you.
So, Madam, so if you say there are plans in place, were they budgeted for? Are these projects contained in the budget? Do they find expression in the budget? I want to understand that.
Thank you. I believe that the minister we had discussed with the finance ministry, and because it has become an emergency, this is an emergency procedure. So I think that they have found some funds, at least to give us one cardiac catheterization lab in this country that is functional. And thankfully for us also, the Mahama Cares, which is a Ghana Medical Trust Fund, is specifically dealing with this issue because they are dealing with non-communicable diseases. Non-communicable diseases are high blood pressure, diabetes, cancers, people with high cholesterol. So the people with high cholesterol are mainly the ones who end up blocking their arteries where the blood flows. So there's a huge need. 43% of all mortalities in Ghana is from these non-communicable diseases. So the Mahama Care Trust Fund has been put aside specifically for that. The bill has been passed. It has been assented to by the president. We have a fund manager or a CEO of the Mahama Fund. The Mahama Fund, we have a board now that has been sworn in, and they're actually going around the country to specifically do this needs assessment issues that we are discussing. I know for sure they have finished the Western region, and all the teaching hospitals as well as regional hospitals have been assessed for some of these equipment, because mainly these equipment are usually for people with non-communicable diseases. And so the work's in place and we'll purchase them.
They work with the teaching hospitals so that they don't end up providing new needs assessments requirements, because I'm sure they already have their equipment needs. And so please let them work with, let the trust fund work with the already equipment needs assessments in place so that we can quicken things up as it is. So thank you. So we also have whole teaching hospital. DS had to do with radiology and some 2 CT scans, 2 fluoroscopy, and 2 mammography machines. So if they can also speak to that.
Honorable Chairperson, we have 2 CT scan machines that are currently functional, 1 mammogram machine that is fully functional, 1 fluoroscopy machine that is now having an obsolete part which the original equipment manufacturer is not able to produce that part for repairs. We also have 1 MRI machine that was installed in 2013, had some challenges and had demagnetization and has been decommissioned now from 2017. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I heard the Prof. or Doc say that there's 1 machine that they cannot even find the parts. Many a time, we tend to have the very old or obsolete version of equipment in this country, such that sometimes when you take reports from here, using a known, let me choose, say, a mammogram machine. You take reports from here and then they still have doubts because sometimes the equipment are obsolete, like Prof. or Doc said, and you are not able to reconcile. How come we tend to have the machines that are 30, 40 years old that the manufacturers, for lack of a better word, do not want, and they find their place in our country, but yet the prices at which we buy them are almost the same as the new ones?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I completely agree with you. The last retooling that was done in this country was in 2014. So since 2014, there has not been any retooling. In the last 8 years, there has been absolutely no retooling for our hospitals. So it is not surprising to us that we came to meet old equipment that had run out of warranties. We came to meet old equipment that did not even have service agreements, nor did they even have spare parts. So we are not surprised.
Doc said the machines are 30 years old, so it transcends 8 years. So all I want is solutions, because he said it goes beyond 30 years, if I heard him right. Some are 30 years old. That was what you said. Yes, you said...
I think it was Konfanochi that shared that information.
Yes, and for some of, no, and for even some of them, you don't even have what? The spare parts, meaning they are out of the system. And these equipments don't go out of the system in 8 years, in 10 years. No, it takes quite some time before, at least, if you can't find the parts, meaning they've stopped producing it, they started producing about 30 or so years ago. So that is the issue here. All I'm asking is, why is it so? And then you have assured us already through the Mahama Trust Care Fund that, but this is also a reality, that we tend to have obsolete equipment that goes beyond 8 years, that goes beyond 10 years, that goes beyond 15 years. So that is what I hope that we will address, that moving forward, the new machines that the trust fund is going to buy for us will be current machines, state-of-the-art machines, not machines that are 5, 6 years old already, and so we go and buy them, and in no time, when they are phasing out, it becomes difficult for us to get parts. So that if we are going to spend so much money through that fund, we should get, if we are buying it in 2025, hopefully we should get the 2025, 2024 model that will serve us for another 10, 15, 20 years before, when anything goes wrong, we don't seem to find the parts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's precisely what I was trying to tell you, because the last retooling was in 2014. So 2014 to 2025, that is precisely the equipment they are talking about. The equipment that we are using today, equipment we procured in 2014. So before we get to where we're going, we have to know where we are today. And that where we are today is that needs assessment. We have done the needs assessment. Individual hospitals, teaching hospitals have done it. The government through Mahama Cares have done it. And we are combining the two needs assessments. Thankfully, we have decided actually as a country now to maybe the high value equipment to do a central procurement, because once we do central procurement, I think we can also do proper standardization, we can use economics of scale, we can use pooled resources to get the equipment, the best equipment at good prices, and also to get it with good maintenance or warranties or extended warranties, and even maybe negotiate better to find companies that have in-country reps that would also be available to maintain these equipment. So we are completely on course, and soon all the retooling will take place, and most of these hospitals will get the modern 2025 versions of the equipments they need so that our people will have good health in Ghana. Thank you.
Minister, there was also a query raised in respect of the fact that Kolebu had a radiography machine, but they did not have the skilled person to use it, a radiographer. And so the machine was there, but it wasn't being used. Kolebu, can you, well, that's according to the auditors.
No, the human resource, that's the radiographers. We, just like the nurses and doctors, they are also, they are, as we speak, they are on their way out. However, we were able to employ some, and that situation has resolved.
Now, at least you are utilizing yes, the equipment.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Minister, the big thing that I find from this report is the capacity to maintain medical equipment. And part of the report says training of biomedical engineers. Biomedical engineering units do not have the required expertise to repair and constantly maintain the medical equipment in the hospitals. Though the hospital strategic plans had outlined training for their biomedical engineers, these plans were only on paper and were not implemented to build the capacity of the engineers to handle the equipment. The hospitals resorted to the use of third-party vendors in lieu of the use of the biomedical engineers who were constantly on payrolls. What is the situation of the biomedical engineers now?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When you talk about biomedical engineering, I think the larger question is our lack of maintenance culture. So biomedical engineering will fall under that. But before we get to the biomedical engineers, we need to purchase equipment that do have service agreements. We need to purchase equipment that have warranties. If not just the 1-year warranty, even maybe extended warranties. Because it is out of that we can even get proper maintenance of these equipment. Yes, we need biomedical engineering. But Mr. Chair, even with the biomedical engineering, let me give you a scenario. Let's take, for instance, that you've gone to buy a Boeing 747 aircraft. Brand new Boeing 747 2025 brand. You have a biomedical engineer who can maintain your plane. But you know that Boeing will not give you all the secrets to how to maintain the equipment all the way. Boeing will only train you to a certain extent. And at some point, you need Boeing engineer to come from where Boeing is done to come and maintain that aircraft, because they won't give you, it is called trade secrets. They won't give you all your trade secrets. So as much as we are training biomedical engineers in Ghana, we still don't have the full extent for them to do everything about each of the machines. So regardless of how many biomedical engineers we train, which we continue to train, we continue to have in-service, we continue to even send some of them outside the country for special training, we still need to make sure that the purchaser of those equipment is purchasing from the right place, has gotten the proper warranty, if not extended warranty, and also built into the contract that the company should have in-country servicing, so that once the biomedical engineer reaches a space where they can't go any further, then the company comes in and helps us with these machines. Lack of maintenance culture is one of our biggest problems in healthcare. We have inherited a very bad maintenance culture. For us to move forward and to fix that problem, even if we buy new equipment into the system, if we don't fix these systemic problems, which we continue to look at and we continue to fix, my minister is very, very passionate about this topic, and I am too. We need to get to a place where once our biomedical engineers are stuck, that there's a additional or supplemental work that can be done. And that comes from the initial procurement and the initial agreement to procure. And that is where some of the issues inherent are. And we are hoping to remove those obstacles along the way as we make new procurement. Thank you.
But, Madam, when it comes to whole teaching hospital, for example, between 2018 and 2023, 80 to 90% of the maintenance was outsourced to a third party. And we are talking about, spending 137,000, 203,000, 754,000, 574,000, 776, even 1.8 million over the period on third-party vendors for the maintenance of medical equipment. Now, these vendors, if are they these maintenance people? Are they from outside the country or from Ghana?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the system we have inherited, if you can indulge me to explain to you a little bit further. So the ministry will procure the equipment and take it to, for instance, whole teaching hospital. That's all the ministry will do. So the hospital now is required to find a vendor that will maintain that equipment, and it's individualized. So whole would do its own vendor agreement. Confanochi will do its own vendor agreement. Kolebu will do its separate vendor agreement with individual vendors. And these vendors technically, for instance, again, Boeing 747, I bought it. It's in Ghana. The Boeing company usually has an agreement with another local company to service the equipment. Those are the vendors that the hospitals will have to go through and also sign agreements with them. What is currently happening is that Each hospital is doing its own agreement. The agreements are not the same. It is different even though the equipment may be the same. Sometimes the equipment are not being the same. And that is why we have flagged as a ministry, and now we are looking at procuring from central, which is the ministry, making sure our agreements are done properly, making sure that they have the warranties, extended warranties, and also that the companies itself will help us with maintenance, so that even if we are having agreements with third-party vendors, those third-party vendors are universal throughout the system. That will build into the system proper standardization, and we can also monitor to make sure that the work that they are doing is done with best practices. Thank you.
Okay, Madam, I think the concern is the number of biomedical engineers that we have in this country, and whether or not they have the conditions to be working in hospitals. I mean, we have KNUST, they continue to produce a lot of biomedical engineers. Myself, I studied lab technology, and I should be working on labs and working in the labs and all of that. But there's a challenge. And the challenge is that we have not built a culture that is able to contain these engineers. For instance, my kid brother works for Philips. He's a biomedical engineer. And what happens in the industry practice now is that they lease the equipments to the hospitals. So these equipments are leased by these giant companies, Siemens, Philips, and all of that. Then they have their engineers who on a daily basis move from hospital to hospital and ensure that the machines are maintained. So yes, we can spend a lot of money, $2 million, $3 million, go and purchase these things. And because of the thing that you said about trade secrets and all of that, these companies are unwilling to deliver to you. Why is the government of Ghana not considering leasing these machines from these giant firms so that they can come and establish their...
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for your time. You're still watching Channel 1 Television. We're bringing you a live coverage of the Public Accounts Committee sittings. Currently before the committee are CEOs and management of various teaching hospitals from across the company, or the country rather, in the company of the Deputy Minister for Health, Grace Ayesu Dankwa. We interrupt that live programming to bring you another live one, which involves the Minister for the Interior, Muntaka Mubarak, who is currently addressing the press regarding outcomes of investigations into violence that characterized the 2020 and the 2024 general elections.
We did the second one 2 weeks ago, and he advised that we update the country where we are. So you realize that most of it is not really conclusive, but it is ongoing. But at least you can see a lot of progress that have been made, and I want to take this opportunity to thank the team, a 30-member team from the CID department that has been working tirelessly to ensure that justice is served. So without further time, I'll just go ahead. So Government Communication Minister, the Deputy Minister